Mm.
Hi, everyone. People are just getting started, getting joined, so we'll give everyone a minute. I like the very intentional sip of whatever it is that's in your mug there, Amy. So we'll all take the intentional sip. Like, hold it.
Mm. Workflow, yum.
Workflow makes it better.
It is ice water. I would prefer bourbon, but we're out, so I had to go with the
You,
hydrating.
you didn't tell me you needed bourbon in your house. I would have sent that to you.
I wasn't till the weekend. So, all right. People, the numbers are still going up. We'll give about 30 seconds and then we will get started.
I just thought it was going to be us, Jody and Amy. I didn't know we were going to actually have other people here. This is pretty cool.
Hey, Katie.
I recognize that background.
We're going to have Amy take you backstage if you don't mind. You're okay. So welcome everyone to the SIP, where meaningful conversation, fuel connection, innovation is sparked through collaboration and industry leaders come together and tackle today's biggest challenges. And sometimes it seems like we have many. Think of it as catching up over a cup of coffee or a cup of ice water with insight, strategy, and maybe a few surprises to stir in. At the Mortgage Collaborative, we're all about helping our members thrive by sharing ideas, real world strategies, and success stories that prove the power of working together. So, thank you for joining us today. We're glad that you're here. This episode is brought to you by Mortgage Workflow Partners as our sponsor, a workflow before technology consulting firm and proud TMC partner, relatively new, but are definitely leading in, is represented by Larry Bailey, the founder and CEO. And he's joined by Amy Blum, the VP of Mortgage Systems Administration at Westgate Bank, and a certified Encompass admin who's worked closely with mortgage workflow partners. So grab a cup of coffee or whatever it is that you would like to sip and settle in, and let's get started. So, welcome, Larry and Amy.
Thank you, Jody.
Thanks,
Let me
Jody.
uh, let me
Glad to
cool
be here.
off in this hot Ohio
Yes, you
weather.
should you should sip something because it's very warm out, at least in the Northeast.
Yeah, we're very hot in Ohio today. I think the 104, 107 heat indices was
Yeah, it's really dangerous.
74% humidity. So we're staying inside. Hopefully, hopefully the electricity holds up for all of the
Oh,
power grab till we get through the SIP. So stay cool.
don't jinx us now, Jody. That wasn't
All
cool.
right. All right. We'll
We
make
just
it.
cooled
We'll make
down
it.
to we just cooled down today, so maybe it's headed. We're Midwest. Maybe it's headed that way. It was 100 and something yesterday, and it's 80 today. So in our
Dear
80s.
Lord, I hope so.
Something to
Yeah.
look forward to.
Most of the people on the call know I have horses, and we do not have an air-conditioned barn. So there have been a lot of showers going on, which just makes me hotter and them cooler. But I have to be safe. So Larry, let's kick things off with you. So Mortgage Workflow Partners is about putting workflow before technology. What does that really mean in practice, and how is MWP helping solve pain points in the mortgage industry today?
Yeah, and so thanks, Amy Bohr, for putting this on screen. So when I created Mortgage Workflow Partners, I intentionally chose that name because since 2012, which is when I first started helping other companies implement Encompass, when I went to work for Ellie Mae as an implementation project manager, the very first thing I'd always ask somebody is, well, where's your workflow? And they're like, well, I know what to do. And I said, no, 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 where's your written workflow? Because when you're implementing software, you need to know exactly who's doing what and hopefully why they're doing this thing. And so I'm not exaggerating. Over the last 13 years, the number of companies that have anything like what we're looking at on screen right now is next to zero. There have been a couple who do have something like this, but it's not updated. And so I created the company with the intention to focus in on any company that uses any LOS in the mortgage space. And what ended up happening was everybody kind of knew me from Encompass, and I kept getting calls after calls. We weren't really, I'm still not really into marketing much. It's more word of mouth and just, raving fans promoting me. But ultimately, what I developed here is the ability to document the workflow from lead straight through accounting. We do interviews, things like that. And then most importantly, we identify the issues, we identify what needs to be done, and then what's supposed to happen when you do accomplish this. Sometimes there's a disconnect between I'm doing this thing and then somebody actually understanding, well, what does it mean to do that thing? And so we focus in on that. And yeah, it's been companies only. We're coming up on our fourth year, ending we started in 21, so it's been really fun. And right now, our most important clients leverage us for admin support, user support, education, and workflow review, settings review. Basically, anything that goes on with Encompass and in the mortgage, we support. So it's been this has been a big deal for a lot of companies to find out what their people are actually doing, not what they think they're doing.
Yeah, it's amazing to me. You know that I have worked in the same space over the years, looking at operational efficiency. And it's hard to believe how many times when I look at that yellow box and then you get downstream and the exact same thing happens in the yellow box by the next person, happens by the next person, happens by the next person. And it just has snowballed over the years. And you see that in companies that you think, wow, like, they're really efficient. They're closing loans in less than 30 days. They have to be doing something right. But just think about if you can take all of that redundancy out of the process, how even more efficient that they can become. So, gee, more power to you in creating all of the workflows. And, every lender thinks we have our own secret sauce. So for every lender that is out there, there's a separate workflow, and hopefully there's just one within inside of each lender, but oftentimes it's even multiple within the same lender.
Especially if you've got branches. Pardon me. So we're in the middle of a workflow review for all the sales branches for a very large public lender. And in these branches that are coming in from other organizations and have plenty of experience with Encompass, they're still using Excel sheets. They're still using email, et cetera, handwritten notes. And so, yeah, so what's on the screen here is just, call outs, things that need to be addressed. And I think you said it best. It's really unknown to people everything that's happening because you're focused on your own desk. And so when we put all this together, everybody gets to see what everybody's doing, and it's empowering. It's very empowering.
That's awesome. So, Amy, it's great to have you join the SIP today. Will you tell us a bit about your work at Westgate Bank, and how you're using mortgage workflow partner services in your day to day?
Sure, Jody. Thanks for having me. I've been in the mortgage industry about 25 years, and the last 12 of those have been spent on the system side. I do work at Westgate Bank, and a big part of our business that we do is mortgage lending. We're in the broker, retail, and correspondent channels, and correspondent makes about 80% of our business. So that kind of tells you just a little bit about the bank. I'm on a team of about 4 admins that we are solely focused on the mortgage lending side of the IT world. And so we manage all the systems that touch a mortgage, and that includes servicing, pricing, point of sale, and our big one is Encompass, the LOS that we do. I am one of Larry's Raven fans, and also been a TMC member. Our bank has been a TMC member for a number of years. I started following Larry years ago, and just the way he taught and the way he can really get to the heart of matters and stuff like that, and get to the heart of issues and really speak to Encompass admins is mainly where we started. And then I continued following him when he started up with Mortgage Workflow Partners. Currently, I take advantage of the admin network that he has and the education that he provides on his Mastering Encompass website. He hasn't mentioned it yet. That is one of the huge pluses that I think that Mortgage Workflow Partners has, is this Mastering Encompass website, because it is open to anybody who wants to join on there. And they've got this plethora of educational things that you can do. There are some paid classes you can take, but there's also some, just a lot of just free things. Here Encompass has come out with this new thing. Larry does a video and he teaches us all how to use it, or the releases are coming out. He has videos on that. So I've been taking his certified admin class and his Encompass web class over the last year. And so I kind of think, most of us admins have learned everything we've learned by trial and error, and we've really never had a fully complete educational platform, in my opinion. And Larry's Mastering Encompass side really does provide that. I think Encompass is a pretty massive system to admin, and even as a veteran, I've been an admin for 12 years, and even as what I consider a veteran admin, I learn something new every time in his classes. In fact, I think that's one of Larry's goals every time we have classes, make sure that I learn one new thing. And it is amazing. It's just, it's such a big thing. And so he's got a real passion for teaching, and he's got a vast knowledge of all things Encompass. And that's resulted in this wonderful space that he's created to collaborate and learn and ask questions.
Yeah, I remember. So Larry wasn't around, or I didn't know him when I was running mortgage companies. And I remember the telephone game that would happen when we needed to know how to do something in Encompass and be like, we'll call so-and-so that I worked with 8 years ago, who's at such and such a place, and ask them how they do it. And then it's like, or we're asking the question in the Encompass working group and trying to solve problems within a working group session with the mortgage collaborative. But I remember those days. So it's great to know that there is a resource there. And Larry, you have experienced, some really significant growth with mortgage workflow partners. And, one of the, I can see from Amy describing the way in which you work is you're a doer. And people that do are successful, because sometimes you get so far removed from the doing that it's just talk and it's not delivery, and people relate to that. But will you walk us through how you have scaled and what has been fueling the momentum as you've continued to grow your company?
I think it's timing. Truthfully, it's funny because to some that are just finding out about mortgage workflow partners, is like, who the heck is this guy and where did he come from and why is he everywhere? The reality is I've been putting up how to use Encompass on YouTube since in 2012. I mean, again, this is not new for me, but the timing is there. So this time last year, mortgage workflow partners had 3, maybe 4 people. We just hired our 19th. And the reason why is because we've got clients asking us to help them in ways that they've already seen us perform. And so it's one of those things where, just like in the mortgage collaborative, you can go there and you can see services and get involved with, you're doing something every week on some topic and you're getting people engaged. And so that's really where my passion is to say, hey gang, this is what's going on. I'm going to give you what I believe is true. If I can help you with that, hit me up on the community or on LinkedIn, or if you really want some one-on-one work that you want to pay for, great, reach out. We'll set you up with myself or one of our team members. But I think the leadership in the space, and I think helping people understand who we are and what we do, and most importantly, what we don't do, is clear. But honestly, Jody, the timing, finally people are waking up that it's not technology first. From 2012, it's interesting with Encompass, started in 04. And from 04 until 12, it just kind of was there. Ellie Mae did its thing. And from 12 to 17, it started to figure out how to grow. And then from 17 to 2021, it was like you had to buy every plugin in the world. I mean, that's all it was. It was all about what plugins can we latch on. And that was the way Ellie Mae had built that was the idea at the time. But really since then, my focus has always been workflow first, because now, of course, ICE Mortgage Technology has been baking in all the things that might have been only accessible through an outside piece of technology. Now it's in Encompass. And now people are like, wait a minute, how do I even use this? When do I use it? Why do I use it? And so I'm advocating for those conversations. And I think that's really what people are finding value in the company. And they're realizing that I'm pretty much the only one that's talking about it, and certainly have the
Yeah.
expertise to talk about it.
Yeah, and then we went through another wave, like after the pandemic, where there was so much business, it was throwing bodies in every technology possible and creating a very stringy, hairy mess. And it has felt like the last year and a half that many lenders are like, I just need to figure out my process. I need to get out of the amount of technology that I have and streamline everything. So there's been that wave that has
Yeah.
happened in the last year and a half. So, Amy, let's go a little bit deeper. As we were doing our prep call, I learned of this secret space for TMC members to engage. Do you want to talk through, the insides and the outsides of the masteringandcompass.com community?
Yeah, the secret space. So as Larry's created this little secret space in Mastery and Compass for TMC members only. To me, it's a place to really just connect and chat with other TMC members, and so you can go in there and you can see who is a TMC member. You get a little tag next to your name showing that you're a TMC member, so it kind of advertises TMC. But we also have access to all the other resources and all the education on its main site. But what's really nice is, as a TMC member, you do get discounts on its classes. And so for those classes that are paid, those you get discounts on for TMC members, which is very, very nice.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so TMC members, I know it's hard to keep track of all the benefits of the membership, but you need to make sure that you're tapping into your benefits the mortgage workflow partners offer in partnership with the Mortgage Collaborative. And here's another nudge. That's easy to say. Loop in your tech leads and your Encompass admins and anyone else that's touching the platform and get them engaged today. So many times I talk to leaders who are like, well, yeah, I'm very engaged with the Mortgage Collaborative, but we don't see their tech teams. We don't see people showing up to the Encompass working group, and they're missing all of this value that is offered to them. So if you're a TMC member, please jump in and take advantage. And you don't have to do anything. You just need to be able to shoot a link over for a working group, and things can get started there for your employees and technology. And then if you're not a member yet, let's chat. I would love to show you how to take advantage of the exclusive offerings of the mortgage workflow partners and the benefits of the Mortgage Collaborative, because there is so much to offer. We definitely can't cover it in this short time, and not the reason that we're here. But so back to you, Larry. There's no shortage of consulting firms out there. What do you feel sets Mortgage Workflow Partners apart from the rest?
I focus on one thing, which is really to focus in on the workflow before tech, just like that mug says. But it's really the idea of what sets us apart is the lineage and the history that I've got in the marketplace. You said it earlier, Jody. I'm a doer. I couldn't have said it better myself. I'm always in the weeds with all of our clients, giving best practices, and that's maybe not so unique, but with the level of experience that I bring and the expertise that I bring into all of our clients, I think it is different. But the thing that really stands out is we are advocating for the client in terms of what technology is best for them. I intentionally set up the company to not produce technology because I wanted, whether it doesn't really matter what LOS, right? Even though Encompass has got a very large share. Doesn't matter what POS or CRM. These are all things that we can help define in terms of how to best use. So we've helped clients on Byte and on Lending Pad and on Meridian Link and even Calyx Point. It's just not the biggest market share. And so that's really what I think stands us out is, what we're doing. We're very clear on our website at mortgageworkflowpartners.com of what services we perform and how we best advocate for our clients. So it's we don't have a sales team. It's really just reach out if you have any questions. Everything's clear and open. And if you want to get down to work, we're ready.
That's awesome. I think a lot of people like the no sales team mentality. So you're probably going to hear from a few people reaching out.
Hey, listen, I was a salesperson for 20 years. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just for us, because we're a services only environment. It's really about listening to what the client is, what's going on. How can we best help, and taking things in steps and stages. So even things like implementations of Encompass, we're starting one now where clients are coming over from other LOSs into Encompass, and guiding that client through by listening and understanding where they are and where they need to get to through proper workflow setups and execution is, again, those are things that help us stand out as well.
That's awesome. And Amy, from your perspective, how has this partnership with Mortgage Workflow Partners benefited you and the Westgate team?
We have not used them as for an implementation. I would. We just haven't implemented, anything.
It's been a while.
It's been a while. I have referred him on, to other people that I know. We have a lot of correspondence that have switched over to Encompass, and I do say, if you do hire a consultant, I do recommend Larry. And there have been some very, very happy customers with that. But in my mind, like the best thing that I've gotten out of this partnership is a resource to improve my knowledge and grow as an admin. So I'm going to touch back on that technology before workflow. So a few years ago, I would have said new technology is the answer to everything. I'm like, no, let's just get a new tool that'll take care of it, and it's easier for me to do it that way, but it costs money. And while I still love new technology, Larry's really helped to turn my thinking around a little bit on that. ICE has done a wonderful job of adding more and more functionality to the system, using a combination of the Encompass Web and the Smart Client. And through the classes that I've taken with Larry, he's really taught me just to think through the workflows for the jobs that are being done within the system. So he's helped me learn how to take that native functionality within Encompass, use it to accomplish what we need. It's made us have more efficient workflows because of that. And I don't have to have a new shiny tool to accomplish the same things. So in the long run, this has really helped us save a lot of money. And it's a very real benefit to us when we dig into these workflows and working with our users, and we're coming up with ways to improve efficiency all around, because it forces you to really talk to the people who are doing the job to find out what are they doing and who all is doing the same thing and everything. So we've really spent about the last 6 months just slowly revamping our system and working with users to try to take advantage more of that native functionality. And Larry's classes and a lot of his resources have really helped. One thing I didn't mention too, when we're talking about your website, Larry, he has a app for the phone, and I will tell you, I love that because you can get these notifications really quick.
It's a little addictive. Be careful.
If you post a question on there because you're having an issue and you post a question, you're like, all right, and then they pop up immediately, so you can get this it's almost like real-time feedback, like you're talking, people and stuff, and getting that. So there is an app too that goes with the Mastering Encompass website that just makes it a little bit more convenient. So
that's like the mortgage grapevine, like back when subprime was starting to
oh,
crash.
Wow.
And
that's a callback,
watching,
yes.
You're watching Mortgage Grapevine to see if you need to pack your desk. This is like addictive, because you're just like watching, like, oh, someone has a question, I can help with that, or I have a question, and people start pinging you. I can imagine that is how beneficial it could be, but also how you could really go down a rabbit hole and helping
yeah.
problem solve.
Yeah, it was important, when I built this new community beginning of this year, and it was important for me to do a native iOS and Google app, mostly because a lot of folks who want to consume the training videos and things that we do, their IT teams block the video play.
Yeah.
And so for me to figure out a way to help with that problem. And then, what it turns into is people answering Encompass questions at 11 p.m. I'm like, guys, stop. Like, stop. It's okay. Do it tomorrow. It's okay.
We've been watching TV at 7 o'clock, and I'll be like, oh, somebody
Gary, you're gonna have
to my problem. Yeah.
Sorry.
You're gonna have to put a disclaimer on there.
It's my fault. Yeah, it's definitely my fault. I'm sorry.
And okay, in full disclosure, you can turn those notifications off.
You do. There is very easy to turn those off, but Amy doesn't.
No, I like it.
She likes to help.
That is awesome. Larry, would you say is the ideal client for mortgage workflow partners? And what's the best way for them to connect with you and your team?
Best way, easiest thing to do is best way is head over to mortgageworkflowpartners.com. You can fill out a form. If you're on Mastery Encompass, you can send me a direct message. If you're on LinkedIn, you can send me a message. Like I'm pretty much accessible everywhere. Or you can just email me using larry@mortgageworkflowpartners.com. The folks that we work with best are the ones who know that they don't need a new shiny toy to fix their problem. They've already tried that and they're still in the same situation, whatever that situation is. And so, as I was saying earlier, I'm very clear about what we do, workflow. I'm very clear about what we don't do, technology. We just know how to train your teams and how to implement the best workflow strategies using what you already own. So, if that needs clarity, obviously let me know. But I try to be clear.
I think it's music to a lot of people's ears, and it's like we were talking about this when we prepped. It's like manufacturing a mortgage loan, you still start at A and you end at Z. And you don't, yeah, and it's, it changes a little bit with channel, but really, it doesn't matter. Like we still have to go through the same processes from lead intake to POS to TRID application through underwriting decision through clear to close and ultimately hopefully having a saleable loan. Doesn't matter if you're a depository, doesn't matter if you are a small, medium, or large IMB. Loans generally go through the same flow. So Mortgage Workflow Partners has the opportunity to be beneficial to any lender in any space or size. So Amy, you've had 12 years as an Encompass admin, and it seems like the tenure of Encompass admins just continues to grow, and maybe not as many new people coming into that space, but that's no small feat. What advice would you give to the other admins or tech teams that are listening in today?
I would just say take advantage of the things that are out there. And you mentioned the TMC calls. I frequently listen in on the Encompass working group call and the tech group call because I learn a lot. And whether it's new vendors you're trying to vet out or something in the system, I do listen to those. But my biggest thing is Encompass is always changing. And it's hard to be an expert on everything. So take advantage of the resources and communities that are available to you. Be active in those user groups. Ask questions. I've been in a time in my life when I've decided nothing's too dumb to ask anymore, because if I'm wondering it, chances are somebody else is probably wondering it too. And answer questions. If you previously solved something or you're ahead of the curve on this certain thing, answer the questions that people have, because you kind of are the expert now. So answer those questions. It's all about sharing knowledge to make our jobs easier. I've learned a lot and made a lot of new friends within these communities, and I'm really grateful to Larry for creating a space for all of us to become better admins.
Yep. So advice to everyone, do something today. Don't wait, get involved. And it really is like what you put into things, you get out of things. And there is a whole community, both with inside of Mortgage Workflow Partners and the Mortgage Collaborative, that are willing to help, because we've all been in a mucky mess that we've needed help with. And we're at a place that we are happy to give back to the industry. So that's a wrap. So a huge thank you to Mortgage Workflow Partners for sponsoring our episode today. Larry and Amy, you both have offered so much thoughtful insight, and your contributions are truly appreciated. And to our listeners, thank you for tuning in. Your curiosity and engagement are what keep our community moving forward. We'll be back next week, June 30th. Can you believe that? Is that the day?
Nope.
Maybe I'm off a
That's
day.
crazy.
Is it July the 1st? I don't even know. But Tuesday, 2 p.m. Eastern time with the TMC network, and then 3 p.m. Eastern on LinkedIn Live. If you found valuable And imagine if you found this valuable, imagine 3 full days. We have the Boston conference coming up in September, and rooms are
Can't
filling up
wait.
quickly. So if you are a TMC member, make sure that you get registered and secure your hotel room. And if you're not a member and want to take advantage, please reach out to me directly. So cheers, and we'll see you next time on the SIP.
Cheers. Thanks, Jody.
Thanks,
Thanks, Amy.
Jody.